Inside the ruins of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor, where radiation levels are lethal to almost all known life, researchers found something thriving. In 2007, a study published in PLOS One documented fungi not just surviving the environment, but growing toward the source of the radiation. When melanin-deficient strains of the same fungi were exposed to these doses, they died. The melanized organisms, however, were performing radiosynthesis, metabolizing ionizing radiation as a food source. This energy transfer is possible because of melanin's unique molecular architecture. A 2012 study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences confirmed that melanin is a hybrid electronic-protonic conductor. It is the only biological molecule known to conduct charge using both electrons and ions simultaneously. Standard biology textbooks focus on melanin's role as a passive pigment for UV protection. The peer-reviewed record, however, identifies an active, charge-conducting infrastructure that manages energy at the molecular level. This creates a direct contradiction. The demographic with the highest concentrations of this self-charging biological conductor faces the most severe systemic health crises. By ignoring the body's internal energy management system, modern medicine is forced to rely on external, patented chemical interventions. When a biological system is treated as if it has no native power of its own, it becomes entirely dependent on the market for survival. This oversight is a structural necessity for the current medical model. By suppressing the science of biological sovereignty and replacing it with perpetual symptom management, the gatekeepers of this industry have placed global health on a track of permanent, profitable dependency. The removal of this science from the public record follows a 4-step playbook. Move 1 is physical destruction. The Great Library of Alexandria, which housed the foundational scientific records of Kemet, was systematically dismantled and burned by Roman authorities. This pattern repeated in 1492 with the fall of Granada. The libraries of Al-Andalus, containing centuries of Moorish advancements in chemistry and medicine, were confiscated or destroyed by the Inquisition. The second move in this playbook is institutional exclusion. Once the libraries were gone, the descendants of those scientists were barred from the new European academic centers built upon their translated texts. This systemic exclusion is statistically provable in science today. A 2011 report in Science showed that Black researchers are significantly less likely to receive NIH R01 funding than white peers with identical educational backgrounds. Systematically denying funding to the researchers most likely to investigate melanin's advanced properties ensures a self-perpetuating knowledge gap, keeping the focus on pharmaceutical management rather than biological optimization. Move 3 is terminological appropriation. This involves taking the surviving concepts of African science and renaming them with European branding to erase their origins. The etymology provides the receipts. The chemic term alchem became alchemy, then chemistry. The noon, described in ancient texts as the primordial creative waters of infinite potential, mirrors what modern physics now calls the quantum vacuum or the zero-point field. Even ancient physical symbols were systematically rebranded. The Jed pillar, an ancient representation of the biological spinal axis of power, is marketed in modern esoteric circles as a scalar spine antenna. The most explicit attempt at this occurred in 1938. Heinrich Himmler's SS Ahnenerbe sent an expedition to Tibet to claim ancient Asian and African cosmological frameworks as the intellectual heritage of the Aryan race. Whether the name used is real, orgone, or negentropic charge collapse, the underlying mechanics remain exactly the same, while the melanated authors of those mechanics are pushed completely out of the frame. Move 4 is economic microdosing. This is the modern phase of the operation, where truth is released in small, controlled amounts to create a market. Global consciousness physics schools teach Kemetic concepts like the Ka body or the caduceus, but they often leave out the peer-reviewed PNAS data on the melanin molecule that actually performs these functions. This creates a business model based on dependency. White-owned platforms sell these concepts back to the public in microdoses, positioning themselves as the necessary gatekeepers to activation. If the industry acknowledged that the human body is already a self-charging conductor, their expensive certification courses and proprietary plasma devices would lose all their market value. The consequences of this erasure are visible in the human brain. For decades, neuroscience dismissed the substantia nigra, the brain's most melanin-concentrated region, as a site for metabolic waste. Research by Zecca et al. Proved the opposite. Neuromelanin is a vital defense system that chelates heavy metals and manages iron homeostasis. Its loss is directly correlated with the progression of Parkinson's and other neurodegenerative diseases. By underfunding research into how melanin protects the nervous system and metabolizes energy, the medical establishment ignores the body's most effective native defense against modern environmental toxicity. A global system that hides its own foundational biology to prioritize profitable treatment is a system that has engineered its own decline. Reclamation requires moving beyond the institutions that spent 4 centuries obscuring these facts. It means building community-funded, sovereign research platforms to finish the work the establishment refuses to fund. There are immediate steps toward biological sovereignty that require no permission. Direct solar exposure during low UV hours charges the melanin network via biophoton absorption, a process rooted in documented biophysics. Practices like grounding for free electron transfer and the use of structured water are accessible tools for optimizing the biological system. You do not need to buy a course or a machine to be activated. Your biological sovereignty is a birthright that was never lost. It was simply never explained to you.